From secret rituals to mysterious disappearances, ancient Rome is full of secrets that still baffle historians today. What happened to the lost legion that vanished without a trace? Is there more to the fall of the Roman Empire than we know? Join us as we dive deep into the unsolved mysteries of ancient Rome, covering clues that have puzzled the greatest minds for centuries. The Roman Empire, with its vast territories and unmatched power, was not without its dark secrets. Among the most baffling unsolved mysteries is the disappearance of the Ninth Legion, a formidable force of Roman soldiers. This legion, known as Legio IX Hispana, is believed to have vanished somewhere in the northern parts of Britain around the 2nd century AD. But despite extensive research, no one knows exactly what happened to them. The story begins in 43 AD when Emperor Claudius launched a conquest of Britain, aiming to extend Roman rule across the Channel. The Ninth Legion was one of the many military units that marched into Britain to solidify Roman authority. For decades, the Ninth Legion fought alongside the other Roman forces, helping to suppress rebellions and maintain control over the new province. However, by 108 AD, the Ninth Legion seemed to disappear from the historical record. No mention of their whereabouts, no records of their battle activities, just silence. Some historical sources suggest that they were lost in the wilds of Scotland during an expedition to quell rebellious tribes, while others claim they were ambushed and wiped out by the fierce Caledonian tribes. Yet there is no definitive evidence to support any of these theories. Over time, historians have debated their fate. Some believe that the Ninth Legion was disbanded after suffering a heavy defeat in the north, while others speculate they were betrayed and slaughtered by local forces. There is even a theory that the soldiers were relocated or reassigned to other regions and that their disappearance was merely an administrative error. But the lack of concrete evidence leaves these theories open to question. The mystery deepens with the discovery of an inscription found at the site of Hadrian's Wall. This inscription, dated to the time after the Ninth Legion's disappearance, references the legion's loss, but offers no further explanation. The absence of a definitive burial site or mass grave for the soldiers only fuels the enigma. No one has ever found their remains, which has led some to wonder if the Ninth Legion may have been completely erased from history, its soldiers lost to time. Archaeological digs have also failed to provide much insight. Despite numerous excavations in the area where the Legion is thought to have been stationed, no major artifacts from the Ninth Legion have ever been discovered. This absence of physical evidence has led some to speculate that the disappearance of the Ninth Legion may have been a cover-up of something far more sinister. Were they victims of a conspiracy? Was there a darker force behind their disappearance? Even today, the fate of the Ninth Legion remains one of the most captivating unsolved mysteries of ancient Rome. With no records, no bodies, and no clear explanation, the question remains, what really happened to the soldiers of the Ninth Legion? The answer may lie buried deep beneath the hills of Scotland, waiting for a historian brave enough to uncover the truth. One of the most intriguing mysteries of ancient Rome centers around the tomb of Romulus, the legendary founder and first king of Rome. According to Roman mythology, Romulus, alongside his twin brother Remus, founded the city of Rome in 753 BC. Romulus is said to have ruled as the first king, and his legacy lived on as the symbol of Roman power. But despite his immense significance, his final resting place remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of ancient Rome. Ancient accounts describe Romulus's death as being as legendary as his life. Some stories tell of his mysterious disappearance during a violent storm while he was reviewing his army, leaving his fate clouded in myth. Others claim that Romulus was mysteriously taken up to the heavens by the god Jupiter, becoming a god himself. There are also stories that suggest Romulus was assassinated by a group of Roman senators who feared his growing power. But none of these accounts provide concrete details about his death or burial. The mystery of his tomb deepens, because despite the fact that Romulus was such a revered figure, no one knows where his body was laid to rest. Ancient historians like Plutarch and Livy mention Romulus's tomb, suggesting that a monument to honor him was constructed on the site of his burial. Some reports even state that his tomb was located near the Roman Forum, the heart of Rome's political life. However, no trace of this tomb has ever been found. The absence of Romulus's final resting place raises several questions. Did the Romans deliberately conceal it? Was it lost over time due to the destruction of ancient structures? Or is there some other reason that the tomb of Rome's founder remains hidden from history? One of the most significant clues about the tomb comes from the ancient historian Plutarch. He writes that Romulus's tomb was located at the foot of the Palatine Hill, a prominent location in Rome. This area was considered sacred, as the Palatine Hill was believed to be the site where Romulus and Remus were raised. By a she-wolf in the legendary founding story of Rome. It was also the site of the emperor's palaces, further cementing its importance to the Roman people. In addition to Plutarch's writings, there are also references to a tomb of Romulus in later Roman works. The Emperor Augustus, who claimed to be a descendant of Romulus, was said to have paid homage at this site. However, despite these references, no archaeological evidence has ever been uncovered to confirm the existence of the tomb. Some experts suggest that the tomb was lost in the aftermath of the many fires and destruction that ravaged Rome over the centuries. Others believe that the tomb was deliberately destroyed, either by later emperors seeking to erase Romulus's influence, or by early Christians who may have considered it a pagan site. Several theories also suggest that the tomb may not have been a physical structure at all, but rather a symbolic monument or a memorial. Some scholars even speculate that the tomb of Romulus could have been a religious site or shrine, which would explain why no physical tomb has ever been found. If it was indeed a symbolic location, it could have been destroyed or repurposed over time as Rome grew and changed. Despite the many theories, the fact remains that the tomb of Romulus remains elusive. In modern times, archaeologists continue to search the Palatine Hill for any trace of this legendary site, but so far, all efforts have yielded no results. The mystery of where Romulus was laid to restand, whether his tomb even exists, continues to be one of the most enduring questions of ancient Roman history. Perhaps one day, through new excavation methods or the discovery of lost texts, the final resting place of the founder of Rome will be uncovered, revealing a secret that has remained hidden for over 2,000 years. One of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries of ancient Rome involves the mysterious disappearance of crucial records held by the Roman Senate. As the governing body of Rome, the Senate was the backbone of the Republic and later the Empire, playing a critical role in the political, military, and social life of the city. These records, which included important decrees, laws, and decisions, were vital to the Roman administrative system. Yet somewhere along the way, much of this precious documentation vanished, never to be seen again. The earliest Roman records were written on wax tablets, which were used to record everything from laws and political decisions to public speeches. These tablets were often kept in archives, which were believed to be well secured by the Senate. But as time passed, especially during the chaos of the empire's transition from a republic to autocracy, many of these records simply disappeared. Despite the wealth of information that historians expect to have been contained in these documents, no one knows for sure what happened to them. Historical sources suggest that these records were kept in the tabularium, the official state archive located near the Roman Forum. The tabularium housed the records that were essential for the governance of Rome, including the acts of the Senate, financial documents, and legal decrees. The building itself was an architectural marvel, constructed during the late Roman Republic, and was considered one of the most important buildings of its time. But despite its prominence, the tabularium was not immune to destruction. Over the centuries, it suffered damage from fires, invasions, and the ravages of time. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD, the tabularium fell into disuse, and much of its contents were lost. However, the mystery of the missing Senate records goes beyond just the physical damage to the building. Some historians suggest that the records were deliberately destroyed, either to erase inconvenient political decisions or to eliminate the historical record of certain leaders and events. The emperor's control over the Senate meant that powerful figures could easily manipulate or suppress information, particularly if it threatened their rule. The idea that some records were intentionally removed or erased to protect the interests of the ruling class adds a layer of intrigue to this already puzzling mystery. A particularly striking example of this disappearance comes from the reign of Emperor Caligula, who ruled from 37 to 41 AD. Caligula was infamous for his erratic behavior, cruelty, and paranoia. During his reign, he is said to have destroyed or altered a significant number of Senate records, potentially to eliminate any references to his controversial actions. The fact that a number of these documents were said to be erased or rewritten makes it difficult for modern historians to piece together an accurate account of events during his reign. In addition to the intentional destruction of records, there is evidence suggesting that other documents were lost due to negligence or lack of proper preservation techniques. During times of instability, such as the transition from the Republic to the Empire, many records were left vulnerable to destruction by fire, theft, or even neglect. Some ancient Roman buildings, including libraries and archives, were not built with the durability necessary to withstand centuries of wear and tear. And as the empire grew larger and more unwieldy, the importance of maintaining a clear, organized record system seems to have dwindled. The question of what happened to the lost Senate records remains open, but there are some clues that can guide historians. A few fragments of decrees and laws have been uncovered in excavations of Roman sites. Some records have been found in private collections. However, these are only small pieces of the puzzle. Historians continue to search for more records, hoping to uncover more of the lost history of Rome. The fact that such a crucial part of Roman governance has disappeared without a trace remains one of the most enduring mysteries of the ancient world. Among the most fascinating and enigmatic aspects of Roman religion and statecraft is the mystery of the Sibylline books. These ancient texts, said to have been written by the Sibyls, prophetesses of divine insight, played a significant role in Roman life, influencing political decisions and religious practices. However, despite their immense importance, the Sibylline books were destroyed in a fire, leaving behind only fragments of what was once a vital source of prophetic wisdom for the Romans. The mystery surrounding the destruction of the books, their origins, and their true content remains one of the great unsolved puzzles of ancient Rome. The Sibylline books were a collection of prophetic writings, believed to have been composed by the Sibyls, women who were said to have the ability to communicate with the gods. These texts contained prophecies and omens that were believed to predict the future, and they were considered a crucial part of Roman state religion. They were consulted in times of crisis, with Roman officials seeking divine guidance in the face of war, natural disasters, and other significant events. The Roman Senate, recognizing the power of these writings, to place the Sibylline books in a sacred temple on the Capitoline Hill, where they were guarded and preserved by special priests. The origin of the Sibylline books is shrouded in mystery. According to legend, a Sibyl from Cumae, an ancient Greek colony in Italy, offered the books to the last king of Rome, Tarquin the Proud, around the 6th century BC. She initially presented 9 books, but when the king rejected her price, she burned 3 of the books and offered the remaining 6 at a higher price. Tarquin still refused, and she burned 3 more books, leaving only 3. The king, fearing that he might be losing out on crucial prophecies, finally purchased the remaining books, and they were brought to Rome. From then on, Sibylline books were seen as a direct connection to the divine and were consulted by the Roman government during times of great national crisis. The books themselves were written in a cryptic style, which only the most learned individuals could interpret. They were seen as a powerful tool for ensuring the prosperity and safety of the Roman Empire, with the fate of the empire sometimes said to rest on the accurate interpretation of their contents. The Sibylline books influenced many aspects of Roman religion and politics, from military strategy to social reform. Their value to the Romans cannot be overstated, yet the loss of the books is a mystery that has puzzled historians for centuries. In 83 BC, a catastrophic fire broke out in the temple that housed the Sibylline books, destroying most of the collection. The books were kept in a building made of wood, and the flames quickly consumed the structure. Although some of the books were recovered after the fire, the majority of the prophecies were lost. The surviving fragments were carefully copied and preserved, and new Sibylline books were created as a replacement for the lost ones. However, historians believe that these new books were likely not as complete or as powerful as the original set, and they too were eventually destroyed in another fire in the 5th century AD. One of the deepest mysteries surrounding the Sibylline books is the question of what knowledge was lost with their destruction. The Romans believed that the prophecies contained in these books were vital for their survival, and their disappearance undoubtedly left a void in Roman state religion. Some historians suggest that the prophecies in the Sibylline books could have foretold important events, such as the rise and fall of emperors, the survival of the empire, or even the conversion of Rome to Christianity. Others believe that the books contained ancient secrets of religious and political power, the full extent of which is still unknown. Despite the loss of most of the Sibylline books, some fragments have been preserved in ancient texts and inscriptions, providing a glimpse into their mysterious content. These fragments are often vague and difficult to interpret, leaving scholars with more questions than answers. What exactly did the Sibylline books predict? Did they contain secrets that could have altered the course of Roman history? And most importantly, what knowledge was lost when the books were destroyed? The Sibylline books, with their mystical origins and prophetic power, remain one of the most tantalizing, unsolved mysteries of ancient Rome. Their destruction has left historians and archaeologists wondering if the answers to some of Rome's greatest mysteries lie hidden within those lost pages, waiting to be uncovered by the next generation of scholars. Until then, the Sibylline books remain a symbol of both Rome's vast power and the fragility of its most cherished secrets.